When you have a new project, just hit the plus icon and create a new brief. Type in the project title and the brand if there is one. You can either create a brief from scratch or from an existing template. We'll create this one from scratch. As the purpose of a brief is to collect information about the project, you'll want to list all the questions that are useful to understand what needs to be done. To add a question, click on the button at the bottom of the screen. Write the question. Select the type of answer that will be provided. Here, we'll set it as a text answer. Depending on the type of answer, you may have additional settings. For a text answer, you can choose to limit the size of the answer to force the collaborators to summarize their thoughts. Most briefs have half a dozen to a dozen questions, but it depends on the type of project you're working on and on how much information you want to get. To preview the brief, click on the eye icon in the top right. It will switch the brief from editing mode to filling mode. You can see all your questions listed there. They are ready to be answered. You can even start filling in the answers if you want. Your clients or collaborators will be able to modify what you enter. The icons here are for attaching files, for saving the answer in a personal library, and for adding comments. When the brief is ready to be answered, you just need to share it with your client, your agency, or your colleagues. We'll call these users your collaborators. Click on the paper plane icon. At the top of the screen, you'll find the URL of the brief. That's what you need to send. But first, you need to authorize collaborators to access the brief, as by default, only you as the brief owner can access it. Type the email address of someone you want to authorize. If he or she doesn't have a Volve account, you'll see this prompt. But that's fine, as long as you grant rights to the profile. Anyone with the link, users without a Volve account, can access the brief. This way, your collaborators don't need to sign up to Volve to be able to fill the brief. You may want to require that unregistered users enter a password to access the brief, though, for extra security. It means that if a user tries to open your brief and is not logged into Volve, he or she will have to enter this password. To do that, just tick this box and enter a password. Be aware that the collaborators are not receiving notifications when you add them. Then you'll probably want to send them an email to let them know that they can access your new brief. To easily send an email to the collaborators of your brief, click on the button, Send an email. By default, all the collaborators are added as recipients, but you can edit that and add whoever you want. Type your message, and leave the box checked if you want to add the URL of the brief at the bottom of your email. That's it. You've created a brief, shared it with collaborators, and invited them to provide answers.